I decided to go back and play some Battlefield 5 again, checking out how the game is doing a bit later into 2024 and if it's still worth it. I hope you're also gonna enjoy the sniper gameplay in the background, since I really enjoy sniping in a game such as BF5. Now, the last time I played BF5 was in April this year, since I wanted to see how the game was doing after EA implemented the EA anti-cheat system into BF5. Today though, it's gonna be a bit more in general, if you will, and the first thing that caught my attention is the fact that BF5 has been gaining players recently, at least on PC, according to the Steam charts. As you can see, there has been an upswing of players, especially the last month, meaning the last 30 days. Around 11.6k players on average, which is the highest number we've seen since March this year. Pretty cool, and it's good for a game that is now 6 years old, since it was released back in 2018. But when BF5 was released, I wasn't a huge fan, to be honest. It took me quite some time to start enjoying the game, and I guess quite some time also for DICE and EA to fix certain things to the better, most of the time at least, which means that it was about a year or more after release that I got back and played some more Battlefield 5. The game managed to do well on the critics side of things, being nominated at the BAFTA Games Award as an example. But even though it sold 7.3 million copies already by the end of 2018, it was a commercial disappointment for Electronic Arts. So in April 2020, it was announced that support for the game would continue until the summer of 2020, when it would receive its last major update. And this is of course unfortunate, but it happened. DICE and EA moved on developing Battlefield 2042. But here we are in 2024 and people are still playing the game. As a matter of fact, BF5 almost has the same player count as BF1 and BF 2042 combined. I guess it says something, at least, that the game is still popular among many players, despite the fact that it's not getting updates anymore. I believe that a lot of players also realize that BF5 might be the last Battlefield game that we'll ever play that has that classic BF vibe and atmosphere and class setup that we're used to feel and used to love and to have in a Battlefield game. That in itself makes a lot of players coming back to these older titles such as BF5, but also Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 4 as well, since this was when the franchise peaked. But since Battlefield 5 has a pretty good player count, numbers that a lot of other games nowadays would love to have, then you'll definitely will be able to get into matches pretty easy when choosing to do so, without having to wait very long. I play on EU servers and I got into matches also when playing off-peak hours, which I consider to be morning or before noon, your local time. There was though one thing on the downside of things that I have to mention. I got a lot of package loss, some lag and even rubber banding when playing this time around. I was playing on the official servers though, and this is something I did not experience when I played the game back in April. I do have good internet, 1K up and 1K down being fiber internet, and I haven't experienced this in other games recently, so I'm curious to know if there are more players that have been experiencing the same thing. This is about the only bad experience I had when playing. I mean, I was also looking out for cheaters, but I'm pretty sure I didn't encounter any cheaters this time around recording this video. Again, I played on the official server, so maybe that's a safer option to a certain degree, if you will. Also here, fill in. Let me know your experiences as well, especially since some of you guys most certainly are playing the game on a somewhat more regular basis compared to me. So is Battlefield 5 still worth it? I would say yes, since the game has quite some player value for not so much money either. I believe that you could get BF5 for only like $3 during the time I was doing this video. And if you're into a single player experience as well, then go ahead and play the campaign, that I believe delivers some cool and also replayable missions, which also delivers some great looking and of course also great sounding gunplay in explosive battles. Sure, there are moments where the campaign becomes linear, but very so often the game opens up and it gives you some options for how you want to tackle its objectives. But if you're more into the multiplayer experience, then there's a lot of game modes to choose from. Since I'm not a huge fan of Conquest, I then tend to choose game modes such as Rush if possible, or the immersive game modes such as Grand Operations or Breakthrough. Some of the battles, for example in Breakthrough, can become quite crazy when the attacking team pushes the front line forward while the defenders reinforce and protect it. I mentioned the gunplay in the campaign, but of course the guns and gunplay in the multiplayer both feels good, and it also often feels rewarding when you're getting your kill. I did meet some of the guys at DICE that have been working on these OG Battlefield titles, and I have always had respect for their experience and knowledge, especially also when it comes to the audio in their games. The audio guys are usually delivering 100%, which is sometimes overseen in modern shooters nowadays, because good gun sounds, explosive sounds, and everything else around you on that battlefield really adds to the immersive experience. I will most likely be one of the guys that continue to hop on a game or two when it comes to Battlefield 5 also in the future. And maybe you'll decide to do the same after watching this video. Well, I recommend BF5 in 2024, and I hope that you'll take the opportunity and play one of the classic BF titles, especially now when we will have to wait most likely until the end of 2025 until we'll get a new BF title, meaning Battlefield 6. For the sake of the devs, but foremost the fans of the Battlefield franchise, I really hope that it will be a good game. With that said, thanks for watching my video, and if you enjoyed, please give it a like, it helps me out here on YouTube. And if you want to watch more when it comes to my content, make sure to subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss out when I'm uploading. And I hope you're gonna have a beautiful day. Take care. Later.